Hi everybody, what's Gucci? It's AJ here again, and today, in I believe the 8th part of this C-series, I'm going to be talking about arrays. Now, if you've done programming before, you definitely probably know what arrays are, but for anyone who's watching videos for the first time, arrays are a way to store multiple objects of the same thing. For instance, let's say I didn't want just one int, I wanted a collection of ints. I wanted to have the numbers 0 through 10. Instead of making 10 variables that have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I can actually make an array which contains all 10 of those numbers. Let me show you guys an example. So I'm going to start by saying what I want the type of the array to be, as I always do, whether it's a type of a variable or if it's a type of something else. And then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this AJ. And then I start these brackets. And these brackets mean that it's going to be an array. It's going to be an array of type integer. So that's what these brackets mean. And within these brackets, I have to put the size of the array. So as you see here, I've got int AJ. So I've got an array named AJ with a dimension size of 10 that's of type int. And to declare what's in the array, I make curly brackets, so different brackets that I start a function with, and put my variables in it separated by a comma. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that is 9 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 elements. So there you go. So as you can see, I have an array that contains 10 elements. Now let's say I wanted to, let me just put a printf statement there. If I wanted to get the value 5 from this array, well, that is something that's, again, most commonly done in programming and can be used using array notation. So if I wanted to access the 5th element, which would be 5, I would just print out my variable AJ, and then I'd use the square brackets to print out 5, which would give me, actually I believe it will give me 6, but I will print that out and show you guys for a second. That always takes a while. It did give me a 6. Now why is that? 5 is the 5th element. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, something I did not tell you guys, and maybe set you up for a tricky thing, is that arrays, the position of an array starts at 0. And all counting in computers really do start at 0. That's why they're done in binary. 0 is the lowest number, and nothing starts at 1. So really, if I want to look at these elements in the array, if I was going to get the first element in the array, I want to look at 0. The second element, I want to look at 1. The third element, I want to look at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So as you can see, really, the values, if I want to look at 10, I'm going to look at what is stored at the array, in the array at element 9. 10, and if I want to look at 1, it's going to be at the 0th element. And see, there you go. So that's how you access it. Make sure that you remember that it starts at 0. So if you want to look at the first element, you can. So that's very important. Note that these can be anything you want as long as they confine to the type they are. So that can be 100, and then I can look at it. So that's the 4th element, I believe. Or index of 4. That's what you say. It's index of 4. So in this array, what I say is that it has a size of 10 because it has 10 elements. But I can only, so that means that I can only look at 0 through 9, or 0 through size minus 1. You can't look at the size. If I want to look at the 10th position, which is an error, it's an out of bounds array. It gives me a 0. Now what this is doing is that the compiler isn't giving me an error, because what is happening is that this 10th element is looking at a random position in memory. It's looking at a position in memory that is in fact 0 and returning that and not causing an error. Now you don't want to do this because looking at locations outside of an array, outside of a declared array, can cause unknown results. For instance, that did compile and return a 0, but could also try to access an area in memory that it doesn't have access to and cause an error as well and do unknown things to your program. Results may vary, but trust me, you never want to do it. You could change something that's very bad. So make sure you think about that. Also, it is possible to modify array elements. So if I do AJ8 equals -90 right here, and then I print this out, I print out the 8th element, it will be -90. So as you can see, I've changed one element of the initial array that I made. And now I'm going to go over some other ways to declare arrays. It is possible to declare an array without saying the size in it, but you must say how many elements there are. So let's make this BJ, my alter ego BJ. As you can see here, I don't have the size that I want. Let me get rid of this. I don't have the size within these brackets, which is what you should do if you do know the size ahead of time, but I don't have to, and the compiler will automatically know that it will look at these elements and say, oh, hey, okay, BJ is of type int and has a size 3, so it will fill that in for me, but you know, that really doesn't matter. This should print out a 3 because this is the 0th element, this is the first element, this is indexed as the 0th element, the first element, and the second element, and it has a size of 3. So yes, also note that let's say I did make BJ have a size of 5, and let's say I wanted to, sorry guys, I had to leave for a second, but let's say I had BJ size 5, and let's say I only put one element here. So let's say I just made it 2, and then I ended the array. So I'm just saying, hey, in the array BJ, the index of 0 is going to have a value of 2. And what the compiler will actually do automatically is it will make all the other values, so the 4 other indices at 1, 2, 3, and 4, 0. Let me just demonstrate this by printing out the first element, index at 0, which is going to be 2. And then I'll print out the index at 1, which will be 0. And this will automatically do it for you. Again, I'll have notes at in my comment section which do detail this. And let's see. That's about all I want to talk about for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you understand everything. I'll see you later.